Hey guys, welcome back for our third community call. It's being live streamed and we have a bunch of participants today. Before we get started, a few quick announcements. For those of you who haven't seen, we'll be hosting an SSV event in ListCon later on next week. So if you're around, please make sure to jump in. Before we get started, we have a combination of both operators, prominent community members, and DAO participants here with us on the call. So we'll go one by one and introduce them. Let's start with you, Lucas.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Glad to be here. So I work for Foundry, which we've been part of the early testnet for SSV, operating the nodes. And yeah, I mean, happy to be here. I like the launch, and there's a lot of cool stuff happening on the agenda today. So yeah, I'll also be at the event in Lisbon, talking on the panel as well.
Awesome. Fun.
Hey guys, my name is Greg, or you might know me as Fod. You've probably seen me on the Discord channel. I'm an engineer and developer by trade. Just really fascinated by crypto and really into this project, and I'm excited to see where it's going.
All right, thank you, Fod. Ben?
Hi everyone, this is Ben speaking. Greetings from Germany. Hello from the dark side then. So I'm here since Genesis block back in December, and still I'm super hyped about blocks and SSV. So can't wait for more.
Awesome, thanks guys. Alon?
Hey everyone, Alon from the blocks team. Happy to be here on our third installment. A lot to cover. But I think we have some great progress to show since we last had a community call.
Yeah, so we have quite a packed day today. We have a lot of announcements and a lot of things that Alon wants to cover. We also have quite a few questions that we collected from the community before, and some of the questions that are coming in right now. So we'll give it some time at the end of the presentation, but obviously Alon's going to cover a lot of ground. So if you guys have anything you want to ask or contribute or, talk about between, make sure to do so. So Alon, you can take it away.
Cool. Hopefully everyone should be seeing my presentation. Yep. Amazing. So third installment of our community call. If anyone remembers, actually the second one was quite a while ago, but it was the kind of marking the launch of the testnet. So a lot has been done since. A lot of it we need to cover. So kind of start with the agenda, I guess. So of course we'll talk about the token upgrade. We I think about a week ago started. We'll talk about the DAO Multisig committee setup, or kind of the Genesis setup we did again about a week and a half ago. We'll talk about the partner program, a few DAO proposals which will go probably voting on next week. So I wanted to kind of sync everyone on that. Where we at within the testnet. And of course, talk about the upcoming event we have in Lisbon as part of the, I guess, the ListCon blockchain week there. So that's pretty exciting as well. So let's start. So token upgrade. The token upgrade, what it did or does still is upgrade from the CDT token all the way to the SSV token with a fixed ratio between them. A lot of what we did there was to freshen up the ERC20 or different standards for the token, and of course being controlled by the DAO in terms of minting and all of those functionalities. And so anyone can really go to our website and hit the SSV token menu button and follow both the blog posts we posted, and of course go and convert their CDT. It's pretty simple. It's a basic ERC20 transaction, and that really kicks off in my opinion, the DAO and its functionality. One of the things is that from now on, we'll actually be voting with the SSV token in the DAO. And so anyone who wants to participate in those voting, if you remember, the two first votes, which basically kind of created a DAO, were with CDT, but because of course SSV wasn't there yet. But now we're transitioning towards SSV, and so that's pretty crucial. Two of the things I know everyone talks about, or at least wants to know where we at with it. So in terms of centralized, decentralized, and CMC wallet support, any of those platforms in terms of support for the SSV token. So we have the Ledger Live proposal, which it's on their GitHub to register SSV as a known token for Ledger users. I'm pretty sure that will pass. I don't think that will won't get a positive response out of them. In terms of the centralized and centralized exchanges, that's really up to the community. Blocks wants to stay as neutral as it can in those kind of things, both from kind of a regulatory point of view, but also just in terms of not pushing anyone to do anything. And so if the DAO wants to vote on adding liquidity for different DEXs, anyone is more than happy to propose, and the DAO can discuss and vote on that. Centralized exchanges, primarily Binance in this context, it's really up to them. We really hope that they will adopt the upgrade and enable that. I don't see why anyone wouldn't want to do that. And so all of those things, I know there are burning questions, and I know especially within the transition period, people ask and are not entirely sure. But I really hope the community will step up and kind of vote and try to push those things. We started to see those things actually happen within the grants asked by the community, but I really hope that we'll see token related stuff as well. And so if anyone is listening and wants to pitch in, you're more than happy. We'll be more than happy to, if you do that, and I'm sure the community will follow in terms of engagement and so on. And so again, encourage anyone who wants to participate in the DAO, the DAO voting, go to the website and convert your CDT, and you'll be able to vote in the next proposals coming up. Any comments, guys?
Yeah, there is one coming in. By the way, I'll let you guys ask your questions after. Just the community is asking. There is quite a bit of confusion regarding who can comment on the DAO and who can make a proposal. It's there. I mean, it seems like they think, or most of the community thinks, it's reserved for developers or people who know what they're doing.
Yeah. So I would separate it into two. So you have the DAO forum and the DAO snapshot for the actual voting. And so what we did was, for the snapshots, if I'm not mistaken, you'll need at least 100 SSV in your wallet to create a proposal. So just around, I would say $900 if you do the conversions. That's really there in order to prevent just spamming, so people can just create a ton of proposals which are invalid. And so if that's a concern and people say it's too much, we can discuss it, maybe lower that. But we saw the other communities do kind of the same. So that's in terms of actually posting a proposal on Snapshot. Within the forum, you can create your own proposals or requests. There's no limit. So if anyone wants to do that, definitely go ahead and do that. And so the forum is exactly for that, to create the discussions, and and kind of see what the community thinks about your proposal or future proposal.
Great.
And one thing I kind of want to emphasize is the support of SSV by Binance. I know a lot of users are kind of stuck in CDT right now because the transaction to do the conversion is they don't want to pay those fees, so they're kind of waiting for Binance to do the swap for them and take those fees upon them. But I'm really hoping Binance moves forward quickly because it'll basically enable everyone else or all those CDT holders right now to have their SSV and then contribute to the community and the larger ecosystem of SSV. So I guess I just want to encourage everyone who also wants that to go on Binance and basically submit a request to do the upgrade. I think the more requests they get, the faster it'll happen. And I'm sure it's going to happen regardless. Like you guys said, there's no reason for them not to approve it and add SSV. But I think the more kind of requests they get from the community, I think the faster it should happen.
Yeah, I totally agree. Awesome. Great. So moving on. So from the token upgrade, what really made it possible was really the Multisig committee. So the Multisig committee got together last week, and I think it was last week, if I'm not mistaken. And we did a basic setup for the Multisig. So we went signer by signer, and you have the YouTube videos if you really want to see that. There's a lot of silence in between signer to signer because you have to submit transactions to the blockchain and so on. But basically, every signer, what they did was they pasted the address, the public key for an Ethereum account they hold, and all of them are holding it in a hardware wallet. And we basically went through each one, verified both on the call and personally the addresses, and basically added them to the Gnosis Multisig wallet. And we added everyone and then set a 4 out of 6 signers. And we actually even executed the first action to that committee, which was to mint 10 million SSV tokens to the conversion contract. So the conversion contract, after that initial setup, was the only one holding SSV tokens. And now once every CDT holder comes and converts, basically it gets this SSV directly from the conversion contract. So that was a big event. I think that the Multisig wallet is very important. It's the gatekeeper. They are the gatekeepers. They are the executors of proposals which influence the DAO treasury and so on. So what we did was, and I encourage anyone who wants to read more about it to go to the proposal. You'll see exactly who are the signers and what they do and so on. All of that is on the snapshots and the forum. So we have 6 prominent members, independent completely, doing different stuff within the Ethereum, specifically Ethereum staking world, let's say, or community. And each one of them has the key. As we said, they're responsible for executing DAO decisions. And of course, the main reason, out of the kind of pure security point of view, right? You want to have Multisig for security purposes. But other than that, really, it's all about decentralized control. And I think we got the right people to do so. They're very prominent. They're very well regarded within the community. And so their job is basically to go and see what the DAO voted on and execute accordingly. So for example, we'll talk about it in a few minutes, but for example, we have 2 grants coming up for voting. If those pass, then they will be the ones responsible to actually send from the DAO the assets to the grant recipients. So, for example, that's one way of, or one example for their job. We will be adding more signers in the future. We don't have specific plans right now, but I would love to see that number hit at least 7 out of 10 or around that number. And in terms of executions, and that kind of has the, I guess, the kind of implications of when do proposals actually go to vote, be voted on, and so on. In order to, of course, not to bother them with too much calls, once or maximum twice a month, max twice a month. That committee will gather next committee gatherings will be live streams. This one wasn't, just because I wanted to have kind of the peace of mind of setting everything up and then uploading the YouTube video. But the next one will be live streamed, and so once or twice a month they will go through the proposals which got passed and execute them if they need to be executed by the DAO Multisig committee. So that's kind of the general, I would say, way of thinking about the Multisig wallet. And again, that's of course, other than the fact that it's much more secure to have 4 out of 6 independent signers.
Okay, that was a mouthful. So we have a lot of questions. Some of them are a little more high level. Some of them are just trying to understand the relationship or the responsibility that the multi-sig signers actually hold. So could you elaborate on the decisions that they collect, what power they have, and how does the selection / adding new multi-sig signers selection process look like?
So they have all the 6 of them, which Blocks is one of those 6, have the ultimate power in regards to the assets within the Multisig wallet. Their responsibility is really to go and look on the different proposals which passed voting, understand them, and that's a crucial part, because if they don't understand fully what was voted on, if you go look at the DAO guidelines, you'll see that if a proposal got passed but it's missing something, or it's not well described, or any of those kind of issues, it will actually be rejected from the committee back to the proposer in order to fix it and go vote again. We took that mechanism, I think, from Balancer, if I'm not mistaken. They have a really great documentation for their DAO. And so they need to understand the proposal, and they need then to act upon it. So I'll give again the example for the grant. Let's say the grant is 5K. They read the grant, they understand that it's reasonable to ask that amount. They don't decide if it's reasonable, the specific amount, but for example, if somebody puts a proposal saying, I will say hello once for 5K, that's not really a valid proposal, right? But so they kind of, again, a subjective committee for the proposals the DAO makes. And once the DAO committee says it's okay, they simply execute. So they will take the 5K within the denominated asset and will send it to the recipient. So that's, for example, that's an example of how I would imagine that committee working on the different proposals.
And how would adding...
how do you add another one? So exactly. Again, added by the DAO. So the DAO needs to propose somebody, vote on it, and once they do that, the Multisig wallet committee will actually need to approve the addition. So they'll manually need to go and sign that they want to add that specific signer. And of course that applies for removing as well.
Right, that covers that. There's a question regarding the selection of the existing committee. So how did the process of selection look like? And how often do you think you guys will convene to pass on decisions or discuss, DAO proposals?
We have that in the presentation. So once or maybe twice a month if it's really needed, but mostly once a month. And the way we chose them was they're just people we know from the industry. We really trust. They have a high profile within the community, and was kind of it. And I would say that anyone else who will be added to that committee probably go through the same process. The community will have to decide if it's trusted enough to be added. Well known as a person or an entity or any of those kind of parameters. We didn't set a specific, let's say, or dedicated process for nominating another signer or removing another signer. But I mean, it's kind of, just explain who that person is, why they should be added or removed, and let the community decide on that.
That covers all the questions. Thanks, Alon.
Awesome. Let's move on. Next thing, the Partner Engagement Program. That's the program where the DAO enables selected partners to buy tokens directly from the DAO. And one of the reasons, one of the things I think are powerful in that is we can bootstrap a lot of partners that way. We can bring partners which are have another layer of engagement, and I think that's really crucial when we're talking about something like SSV, which is really needs adoption in order to succeed. And so we already uploaded the actual program to the forum. Anyone can read about it, and we of course announce it in various channels. But the gist of it is really simple. So we have 3 batches during that program. Each batch is 2 months long. At the beginning of each batch, there's a reference price. That reference price is persistent towards throughout the entire batch, so throughout the entire 2 months. And the DAO basically has the privilege of saying yes or no to potential partners who want to participate. So any potential partner will have to make a proposal to the DAO and explaining who they are, why should a DAO give them that the benefit, and so on. And so we had kind of the initial batch or the genesis of batch 1, which was Foundry and then Coinbase and Luca. They were the kind of the Genesis 3, and we'll probably have more to follow. So other partners which will join and propose themselves for the DAO and so on. By the way, the proposal for the Genesis trio will actually go into voting probably next week. Awesome. Anyone has any questions around that? Okay. Awesome. I'm really excited about the partner program. I think if we're doing it right, I think we can harness a lot of partners in to help really bootstrap the network when it comes to mainnet. I really think that could be, if done right, that could be really awesome. Cool.
There's actually a question coming in from Shu. They're from our YouTube asking, do you guys have a goal or amount in mind for how much you're looking for the engagement program to bring in?
I mean, it really depends on the reference price. So the current each batch is limited to 1 million SSV. So the first batch is around $6 million, I think. Next batches, we'll have to see what the reference price is. Yeah, we couldn't tell.
Okay, great.
So moving on. So once we kind of covered SSV and so on, it's really, I think that's the kind of the next action item, which is also an actionable item for next week, which is anyone who's listening and has SSV or wants to convert City to SSV, that will be the first time you'll use your SSV to vote on the DAO on DAO proposals. And so we have what we'll do is we'll have 2 proposals. Within them, they will batch a few or additional proposals, but from the same type. So you will have the partner program groups who want to buy tokens from the DAO. That's one proposal, which will include within it a few proposals for buying the tokens. And once we vote on that, we'll vote on all of those proposals. Just in terms of simplicity, instead of having forcing people to vote on like 5 or 6 different proposals, they'll vote on 2. And the second one is the grants themselves. I think we have a slide about the grants, but if not, I'll detail that more. It's 2 great grants. All of them are very technical, very dev oriented. I think they're pretty great. In terms of voting, it's probably going to be next week. And so I really encourage people to go out and vote. It doesn't cost any gas. We're using snapshots. It's really important, I think, to show that the community really is engaged within the voting. At the end of the day, that's the future of SSV. If you let somebody else vote, somebody else decides for you. And so if you want to make an impact, and if you're a token holder, you should care about those things. Go out and vote, and kind of tell everyone what you're thinking of, and what do you want or what you don't want. So that's really crucial. We'll of course make the announcements around the proposals and everything, but that's definitely something I think everyone should take the responsibility, take the 30 seconds it takes to vote on snapshots. Again, it doesn't cost any gas, and so on. So go vote. Cool. And I think so
there's actually
we don't have
more questions.
Yeah, just a second. We don't have. I think we don't have a slide around the grants, but there are currently 2 grants being asked for the community or to the community. So the first one came from the Ethereum Foundation, which was to help fund a formal verification for an SSV formal spec. So what will happen is the Ethereum Foundation will start writing formal specifications for the SSV protocol. And of course, we'll be involved in that and help shape it out. And after they do that, they will use consensus, and specifically Roberto from Consensus, the guy who actually wrote the consensus protocol used within the SSV protocol. It's the same guy who actually did the formal verification for the Ethereum 2 spec and the QBFT spec. Is probably one of the most knowledgeable people in terms of formal verification in the space. And so he will be leading a team doing formal verification for SSV. And kind of maybe in 2 words, formal verification verifies what you made in the spec. So the spec is a description of what's happening within the protocol, and the formal verification part is really taking that spec and formally verifying that it holds to what it needs to hold. And that's a really, really important step for, just making sure you have a robust specification that works, and it's also re-implementable in different languages and so on. And so that's the first batch. That's the first grant request. And the second grant request is from the Ethereum guys, the group. What they do is really awesome. So they started out life with, and still the thing they're focused on is building a great UI for basically setting up your node. They have a beautiful UI. It's kind of the blocks live for general purpose staking. And so you basically can select which Bitcoin node you want, which Ethereum 1 node you want, connect between them, configure how they run. And then once you do that, they deploy everything, set up everything. And once you do that, you have a beautiful dashboard showing you exactly what you set it up, what's the status and so on. And then you can add your validators to it, and they do key management and so on. It's really, really great. And I think it's and of course it's all open source and so on. Really great team. And so what they wanted to do is actually do exactly the same just for SSV. So you'll be able to use their UI to set up SSV from scratch on any cloud or any machine you want. And I think that's a really, really great way of enabling operators to spin up quickly and efficiently new nodes. And so for that, they also requested a grant, which is really, really awesome. I definitely support the 2. I think they're extremely important. I would love to see more and more of those types of grants. I think that those are multipliers in terms of development resources and so on. So those 2 grants will go up to voting as well. And I guess, anyone has any questions around the DAO proposals? Ron, you had a few?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions actually coming in. I think it's the most we've had so far. So first of all, people want to know, how can they be alerted or notified when there's a DAO proposal being made so they don't miss it?
So first of all, just keep track of our Discord or Twitter. We put that there. I'm not entirely sure if you have an alerting system for snapshots or the forum. It actually might be a good idea for a feature. If anyone has the answer, I really have no idea.
You can. The answer is yes.
So if you can, so that's the answer. Go to snapshots, set up your alert, and you will get notified whenever a proposal is proposed.
There are also quite a few questions coming in asking more about the DAO decision making. So there's still quite a bit of confusion regarding, the process of how again, I'm summarizing a few questions because there's a lot of them coming in, of how the DAO process looks like. So again, from a personal user point of view, can you, show them the floor, explain exactly how the DAO mechanism would look like?
So there's a post we did on the DAO forum called guidelines or something of that nature, and it really details the life cycle of a proposal. So I'll summarize and hopefully I get everything right. So hopefully, but that's not a necessary step, the proposal starts out live within the forum. Basically, it's if you're proposing something, that's your way of just checking the mood around what you want from the DAO. But that's not strictly a necessary step. You can jump ahead to the next one, which is actually creating a proposal. Going to snapshots, you'll need 100 SSVs for it, if I'm not mistaken. Make the proposal, and then you need to obey by a few rules. So for example, you need to start and end the proposal within a certain amount of time. You need to have a structure to the proposal and so on. So usually what we do is we have 3 sections to a proposal. We have an overview, we have the motivation or why do you propose what you propose, and then the mechanics, like how it will work in real time. In real world. So, and again, you don't have to obey to those exact templates, but it's very recommended because it makes it much easier for people to read about it. And you make the proposal have a start and end time. During that, it's getting voted on. If it passes, then it basically passes to the DAO Multisig committee if it's something that needs their action. If it's not, then it's not. I don't have an example in mind, but let's say it does, so it passes to them, and the next time they convene to as a committee, they'll take that proposals and other which got passed and read them, and then again, if they see something which is incomplete or invalid or any of those reasons, they will reject it back to the proposal, and the proposal can decide if they want to resubmit or not. And if it's okay, then they will simply execute. And that's pretty much the cycle. It's pretty easy. Again, you can go and read about it, but it's pretty easy. We kind of copied that cycle from Balancer, I think. Yeah.
Great. There's a lot more questions, so I'll leave them for the next section, unless there's anything else you want to cover.
Me, on my end, I think we only have one slide left.
Okay, so we'll ask all the questions after the next slide, and then I'll let you conclude it, because I haven't seen such an amount of questions coming in.
Okay, so the big thing we're working on, the testnet, where we at? So again, if you can remember, the last community call was the testnet launch. Since then, 120 operators got registered. Those are 120 individuals or companies running an SSV node and registered themselves as an operator. 25 of them are verified, meaning that we know who they are. They're usually companies, and 15 are DApp node verified. So we kind of partner up with DApp nodes. I really like what they're doing, and so we had a dedicated label for them. So those 15 DApp nodes are verified by the DApp node team. They simply tell us who they want to get verified, and so that's cool as well. You can use them definitely as well. We have just over 2,200 validators, which is amazing. That's even before we started the incentivization testnet. I would say out of the 2,200, probably Blocks has around 100 for testing. But other than that, it's completely community driven. So it's really amazing to see. And that's before we hit the incentivization program, and I would say it's going to be 10x on that. So that's really, really awesome. and specifically for the testnet, that really helps out iron out issues. Like a lot of the work we have today is really the result of having so many validators. So if we would have had 100 validators, we would not have seen this the issues we're facing today. But because we face them, and we need to come up with solutions. And so most of the focus the dev team does now is really node stability and operator stability, meaning that node stability is that the node can run for a long period of time no memory leaks, it just works well, and networking is working well, and so on. And operator stability is just the operator's ability to pinpoint issues. That's really, and that's really coupled with the network's transparency and performance. We put a lot of work into creating tools to better understand the network, because it's very hard to pinpoint issues if you don't have transparency inside the network. So, for example, some validators are stuck on change rounds, but why? So is it a code issue? Is it just some of those app operators are down and not even know about it? In order to pinpoint the issue, we need to clean up configuration issues, setup issues, and all of those things. So all of that coupled together is really the work of creating the tools, fixing the issues. We usually, the past few weeks, we did 1 or 2 versions a week. That's not ideal, by the way. I mean, you don't want to force your operators to restart their nodes and update twice a week. That's way too much versions. But at least for now, the iterations are pretty quick just to fix and push things out. And so that's really the most of the work. And so that's really great to see. We need to get the nodes and network to be stabilized and working well for the incentivized testnet. And so yeah, that's a lot of work we're putting in. A lot of versions, if anyone is interested, go read the logs, the version logs, they're pretty full. And yeah, and other than that, the next version will probably be within a week. So I think it's version 2.2 or 2.3. And so yeah, that's the kind of the testnet state. It's really awesome to see. It grows pretty fast. I think anywhere between 30-50 validators a day growth.
Great. So actually, we have quite a lot of questions, and I'll try to get to all of them. And I'm sorry if I'm missing any of your questions. There's just a lot. So there's actually a question that made me laugh. This one is addressed to Greg and Fod. So Fod, actually, they wrote Greg/Fod and Ben. So they're writing, I also like the project a lot. Why did you guys decide to get so involved with it though? Is there anything you're planning on using it for?
For me personally,
I'm guessing is SSV. Yeah, by the way.
I mean, I really discovered you guys through block staking. I was just looking for a place to host my validators, and I think your non-custodial feature is just so critical to that. And then I just saw you guys work on SSV, dug into that, and once I kind of read about it and saw sort of the vision you guys had in mind, it was just it's undeniable the power and the usefulness of this, and I really kind of want to be involved to just contribute to the project and through its launch and through its growth into hopefully the dominant infrastructure of Ethereum staking. So for me, it's just like I'm just a big nerd that's real excited and happy to be involved. So yeah.
So in addition to what Ford said, it was in the beginning just for fun. You guys were very kind, to the community. That triggered me a lot because I felt like being part of it from day one. So that was really like how I got hyped at the end of the day. I mean, I also started with the block staking, of course. Then I learned about SSV, a totally new world for me. And yeah, pairing with the kindness, I think it was a no-brainer to stick with the community work here.
That's great to hear, guys. Although it's not part of the community call, I wanted to mention the upcoming seedless feature, which is long been waited for by a lot of people. We're hoping it will be live next week. So it's going to be a very big release, including Altair support. Maybe that's also a good time to mention that for block staking users, once that version is going out, because Altair is a hard fork, you will have to update your key vault. Otherwise, your validator will simply go offline. And so that's kind of a side reminder. I don't want to take too much time on that, but it's really awesome to see block staking community members coming into SSV. That's really what we hoped will happen. Although there are very two different types of projects, I guess the common thread is really staking or decentralized or trust minimizing staking. So that's really awesome to see.
Great.
Anything else?
Yeah, we have a bunch of questions. I'll give it 5 to 10 more minutes. Hopefully we can cram in as much as we can. There's another question, this time addressed to Lucas. There's also a few funny questions, but one of them is asking, just for the fun of it, what happens, it's pretty dark, but what happens if one of the 6 multi-sig wallet committee members perishes? That kind of made me laugh. I'm guessing there's a protocol, but we'll skip ahead to a question that was addressed to Lucas this time. So a community member with a Chinese name, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce, is asking, how did you guys get initially involved with the SSV and why it's such an early stage?
Sure, yeah. So I actually kind of forget how we initially got involved. I think Alon just reached out to us. I'm not fully sure on that, like kind of like where we had heard about it or where we got that, but why we decided to kind of get involved within an early stage as part of a validator and stuff is we kind of realized that like two things. One, we'd been working on like developing like E2 staking and stuff. But you don't always get the best like redundancy or security, right, when you're staking with a single party. Staking with multiple parties across the network is really helpful, even though you have to rely on the infrastructure that obviously like the SSV network has. But being able to like link in to other staking providers is super helpful, and it's something that like clients and institutions will probably want in the future, rather than kind of putting all their eggs in one basket. Right now, you could imagine that like large institutions probably don't just pick one specific validator, but they might split up some of their stake across some of them to mitigate their risk. But they can kind of just do that directly through using SSV, right? And then the second reason is just particularly relating to like decentralization, right? So like you wouldn't necessarily want to, or I guess staking really follows the path of least resistance, right? So when someone's staking with an exchange, that exchange has a partnership with a staking company, or a wallet has a partnership with some staking company, et cetera, right? Or you're staking by yourself and you just kind of like look on the block explorer. Generally, those with the most stake are seen as the most trusted. So stake just continues to accumulate there, right? But by kind of having a network where you can kind of spread the stake across multiple validators, and even as like an at-home user, right? I could be running a validator at home, like by myself on just like some of my own hardware, but then I could also get the redundancy of like top tier staking providers, right? While I still feel like I'm part of the network. So yeah, it was kind of just like a perfect fit from a bunch of different levels.
Great answer. I'll give time for 2 more questions. Alon, a lot of people are asking about the plans for the incentivized testnet, about the ETA, and more specifically about how would SSV will be distributed to operators. Any idea regarding the amounts?
So amounts is really depending on the amount of validators and operators. How it will be distributed, we're thinking about, first of all, we'll definitely use some aggregator or distributor contract. We won't be doing thousands of transactions online. That will be just too expensive. So that's one thing. You'll have to pull your SSV out of a contract, and so the fee does lands on the recipient. And so, you know, if you consistent enough, you'll get enough SSV and you can pull them in at once. So that's one thing. And we're thinking maybe using something like XDAI in order to actually do the distribution. So so it might make things easier. It's more centralized, but I think for this purpose, it might be good. And so that's probably how the distribution itself will happen. In terms of ETA, it did got pushed back a bit in terms of ETA because we first want to get the network more stable and then move to the incentivized testnet. And so 2 to 4 weeks, that's my guess.
Okay, great. And then another question coming in regarding the actual upgrade of the token. Why did you guys decide to upgrade an existing token, CDT, instead of issuing a new one?
Well, we have a community, right? We have people trusting what we're doing. People we've been working with, or the community we've been working with for years. Yeah, you want that. You want that community to be involved in what you're doing. And specifically, the community was very focused on staking because we did block staking before we started working on SSV. And so I think it's just, first of all, it's a good way to conduct yourself in the world. Don't forget where you come from. But other than that, I think porting this existing community into SSV, I think it's crucial. I think in the long term, having those block staking users being part of the community and then potentially moving to SSV is a big advantage for bootstrapping the network. And so yeah, that was mainly what kind of drove us to make the decision.
Speaking of community, a lot of guys are waiting for the POAP. So I'm guessing it's going to be shown on the screen soon, so you guys can go out and claim it. There's quite a lot of buzz around our POAPs, which makes me happy. So that wraps up most of the questions. I didn't have time to go over all of the questions. Those that I missed.
You have just one. Just one thing we wanted to talk about, which is the ListCon conference.
Definitely, yeah.
So I do see the POAP on the screen, so if anyone is interested. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, my presentation is not showing. But anyhow, I'm sure Dean will take care of it. But the next week we'll have the first SSV.Network community or live event, I would say. We're hosting a bunch of people. Lucas will be there, but a bunch of other people from Lido, from Staking Rewards, DApp Nodes, to really talk about the future of staking. So we wanted to get those people in kind of a fireside chat for 30 to 60 minutes. It's a format which usually doesn't work in conferences, but because it's very focused on that, I think it will work. And I think in 30 to 60 minutes, we can really dive into you know, a more in-depth conversation rather than just, you know, your usual panel where everyone contributes their 1 or 2 sentences a topic. So it will be fully dedicated for future staking. So anyone who finds themselves in Lisbon during that week on the 19th, please join us, and we'll be happy to have you there, and it will be really awesome. That's it.
All right, guys, just last reminder, I'll answer all the questions. I'm sorry I didn't have time to get to it. Next time, please make sure to submit them before the call so I can manage to you know, get to all of them. There's actually quite a few questions addressed to the other participants. I'll make sure to send them their way, and they will get back to you. I'm sure they'll be happy to answer your questions. So thank you again. Thanks everyone for participating. It's been a pleasure. Vlad, and I'm sorry I forgot to mention you in the beginning, but Vlad is also here. So we'll definitely update you guys for the next call. If anyone wants to participate or join, let us know. And thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thanks all.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
It was great having you guys. Thank you for that.
Yeah, the live stream is off, I